poet Leo Christopher said, "Home is where you leave everything you love and never question if it will be there when you return." Creating safe communities where people can raise a family must be at the heart of any government's agenda. But on housing, as with many other areas, successive governments have failed us. The political crisis we find ourselves in can be seen no more clearly than in the housing crisis, a crisis which is self-inflicted. Our population is growing, immigration is at a record high, and yet we are building fewer houses now than we were in the 1950s. Universities where I live in Manchester actually paid students to live in other parts of the country because there was quite literally no room for them. As a country, we have seen levels of homelessness drastically increase. In Manchester alone, there are thousands of people that are either rough sleeping or in temporary accommodation. And those that have managed to find somewhere to rent are often forced to live in a home that is below standard or covered in mold. So what do we do about it? First, decrease net migration. The demand on the housing market at the moment is simply too high. Second, we need more houses, and specifically more social housing. And third, the quality of the housing that we do have must be improved. In 1969, we built more social rent houses than in the last 12 years combined. The SDP will establish a British housing corporation that will oversee and fund construction of 100,000 social homes every year. This will be funded in part by a 50% tax that is levied on private housing developers for the uplift to land value of greenfield sites and undeveloped land. We will also make sure that people aren't living in homes that are unfit for purpose. We will require all residential let properties to have a conditions certificate, basically a housing MOT. These will be issued by a new Housing Standards Inspectorate, and it will be illegal to collect rent on any home that has failed to obtain one. It's important to remember something. Good design costs nothing. Rather than throwing up soulless buildings, let's kickstart a new era of British architecture. Let's train up our young people, and let's create communities for families to thrive. It's time for a national project.